Today, it is a very important and special day for the CPTM, Commonwealth Partnership for Technology Management, networks, and for the Smart Partnership Movement. It is almost the end of July, but about 20th of July today, and we are launching the CPTM highlights and insights on adaptive flexibility approaches to financial inclusion in a digital age, which is a hybrid record of the most useful, timely, and interesting central bank governors and smart partners get together at the end of June at the CPTM Smart Partners Hub in London. The hybrid records, and you note that I'm not calling it document, the hybrid records include interactions both of issues and people and institutions, not only connected with the typical financial inclusion matters that the CPTM core group of central bank governors dealt with since 2002, but particularly dealt with at the end of June this year here, but include issues which are as relevant and as connected to the CPTM financial inclusion group as the quality and standards inclusion is, as the national visions with all the issues and the networks and the matters today are being dealt with, and of course with the technology, science and technology inclusion, but which in itself as a network has a number of subsets of networks. The most prominent one is, in the last year or so, is the one dealing with digital landscape, monitoring and exploring digital landscape with its challenges and opportunities as applied or as it evolves within the context of the interests of central bank governors, Chief Executive of Bureau of Standards, new group, which had its say that they want to be part of this strategic framework, Chief Executives or Director Generals of National Statistics Offices, and of course in addition to the science or technology officers, advisors to heads of government, and of course all of them part of visions. So while the interaction had as a main stimulus the focus on adaptive flexibility approaches to financial inclusion, equally the quality and standards, the national statistics, the national vision, as well as the science and technology inclusion issues have been brought into the equal interest of trying to deliver smart partnership approaches which are adaptable and flexible in this integrated fashion. Now, these observations are actually quite abstract for anybody who is listening, anybody who is trying to put together in a more systematic way what is taking place in the national context, global context, regional, institutional context, national house. But in fact, the extraordinary value of the interaction that took place here, led by the central bank governors, the core group, is very relevant because for all of the other inclusions, because it is a demand-driven smart partnership strategy to deal with national visions delivery, but also with contribution and engagement from key other partners in a country. So it is probably a turning point, both for the financial inclusion, CPTM group that initiated their interactions in 2002. And as the governor from Kenya was referring to this new phase, there is a CPTM Financial Inclusion 2.0, which issues and matters which need to integrate others, including ongoing, emerging digital issues. So overall, the same thing could be mentioned within the quality and standards inclusions, the same thing within the technology inclusion, and same thing in national visions. There are inclusions 2.0, once because of the digital age and digital landscape within which they operate, but also because of the need for integrating in national smart partnership frameworks and developing adaptive flexibility approaches, as the financial inclusion group has been trying to do in the last 2-3 years. For that reason, I would be very grateful on behalf of all those actively engaged in the networks, respective networks, to give a feedback on how do they think they could take forward as part of an overall CPTM Smart Partnership Strategic Framework. When one says CPTM inclusion initiatives or CPTM strategy framework, it doesn't refer to the CPTM Smart Partners Hub. It doesn't refer to the CPTM board. It doesn't refer to the Joint Executive Group or Council of Patrons. It refers to the CPTM networks of networks, which come from within various, as we call them until at the beginning, or refer to, smart partners links. There are multiple perspectives which, integrated with one another, not through a coordinating top-level hub, but through ongoing implementation and delivery of things which matter, either in a central bank context or in the quality and standards or etc. national visions. So the ability for developing adaptive flexibility smart partnership approaches in such a way that they integrate and monitor and manages this integration of data which referring to issues, data which refers to people and their functions, data which refer to institutions. So one is managing, as one would say, an interaction of data sets. Now there was quite a lot of discussion in the second part of the think tanking, and separately by the way of the initiative of the National Statistics Office, particularly the Tanzania National Statistics Office, about the need to understand integration and interrelation and correlation of data sets. And that will be probably a key, essential capability for managing, which is a cognitive type of capability, for managing within economies which are emerging. And this is made possible, but it does turn upside down most of the conventional ways of doing things, connecting with people and issues, and even within institutional frameworks. So, for instance, if you look into science advisors' offices, one of the major preoccupations is no more with science as such, that is being dealt with, but it is with data science and data in itself, which is referring to the various developments in science. Not just genomics, not just those things that we're talking about related to blockchain or fintech, financial technology, etc., but any. So the chief technology officers and chief data officers are probably almost taking over the main function in a government structure. And this cannot be really confused with the IT units, e-units, or anything of that nature. This is of a different nature, and is strategic in nature, and it is integrative in nature, and does ensure that systemic risks are being dealt with. So one of the most important outcomes from the interaction of the financial inclusion of the central bank governors, including those who were associated with, although they may not have been present at the hub those 2 days, is on how to manage or to avoid systemic risk. It could be financial risk, it could be any other risk, cybersecurity risk, all sorts of risks. So one is to look into what is and map systemic risks in such a way that it is a real implementation and delivery rather than simply regurgitating of potentials of the Internet of Things or various digital issues that emerge. One needs to be careful about being either driven by marketing or by consumers type of issues, and without really understanding each and every issue that is being mentioned or initiative, like related to digital age, such as cybersecurity, or such as data science, or such as, I would say, hackathons, macathons, etc. These are issues which need to be understood correctly, even if one is not coming from that particular age group or mathematics or physics. Anybody could participate in a hackathon. Now, where these hackathons come about? Well, I'm told that, and I tried to be part of some about a year ago, that hack, of course, comes from hacking. Athon, as we know, comes from marathon. And the marathon comes from the Marathon town in Greece, which the legend says that one of the persons present at the Marathon war, which was won by the Greeks, has been chosen to go to Athens and inform everybody of the victory. Hence, most of the, and he did that in a very quick way and very enthusiastic. And he announced this in Athens, after which he collapsed. Well, this was, the legend is 940 BC or so, but any Olympics have got a marathon, and the hackathon is referred to data Athens. And I would like to end to say that one could look into this particular hybrid document as an Athon of data, sets of issues and people who are relevant to each other, and they need to be used continuously and updated with the purpose of achieving as useful and great things as a marathon does for those who participate in it. So in a way it's a marathon, but is a data marathon, hackathon or mapping, mapathons. There are all sorts of things that you could explore. There is a new turning point, this document and this moment for CPTM in Smart Partnership Movement and in the networks of CPTM, since the approach to the ongoing engagement has to reflect this data sets, interconnections and overlaps for the purpose of achieving a national vision, achieving national prosperity, dealing with challenges as they come, including the systemic risks. Thank very much to my team, who was able to deal with the various dimensions as with my guidance, which were complex, including they are trying to deal right now with trying to establish data sets of issues and people in the inclusion initiatives and make available this hybrid record. But this is only the start. The actual engagement within this integrated networks issues for financial inclusion, quality, vision, and national statistics would have to follow. So, have a very good exploration of these records and give us a feedback. Time is passing and things are evolving as we speak. So already a number of things are taking place within not only digital sphere, but within the interactions between the those initiatives that we're discussing about. So all the best and wait for your feedback.